Professor Joshua Cooper will introduce the speakers.
Okay. Sabadi. Aloha, bonjour. It's an honor to welcome everyone here to the press conference today. The title will be Laos, the Path to Democracy. And we're fortunate to be able to speak and begin with Dr. Bunton Chantalavong Visa, who was just elected to her term for another 4 years. So we'd like to welcome you and thank you very much for opening and begin to speak about Laos and the path to democracy.
Thank you so much.
Please.
Okay. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Bunton Chantalavong Visa. I am a president of Alliance for Democracy in Laos. The Alliance for Democracy in Laos is a people's movement connecting Lao citizens and active advocates in global network committees in peaceful chain for democracy and for respect of human rights in Laos. It is a non-government organization, the partner with and for Laos people inside our sacred homeland, as well as the diaspora around the world. We coordinated our global efforts being based and registered in Germany. So now it's honorable for me to submit our human rights report for Laos in this conference. Laos is one of 5 remaining communist countries in the world, and Laos is one of the poorest countries in the world. In 1975, the Lao Communist Party, in violation of ceasefire agreement under the Vientiane Peace Treaty of 1973, took over power and control of the country and replaced the existing legitimate constitutional monarchy with a single-party communist regime under the name of Laos People's Democratic Republic. The state symbols have been replaced. So the traditional flag, the 3 elephants flag, has to go. The new one is the so-called moon flag. Laos depends first and foremost by Vietnam, particularly militarily and politically. And so secondarily is influenced by China. The influence by Vietnamese is characterized by the Lao-Vietnam Special Treaty from July 18, 1973, for 25 years and automatically renewed every 10 years. Vietnam's advocacy in making Laos a colony has taken new form other than political and economic control, as can be seen in the culture and language sectors. Since 2012, Laos made contact for the construction of Ho Chi Minh statues. A lot of statues are planted across the whole country, including the capital Vientiane. Despite protests by the population, more than that Laos culture new is in danger. Vietnam still many Buddha statues on over Laos, so the Lao people will lose their symbols of belief. It last is taken place on January 9, 2050 on the old Untitled Chapter of Vientiane. In certain years, schools have opened in Laos in which Lao students are taught entirely in Vietnamese inside our nation of Laos. This is clearly to undermine on Lao culture. In education, in awarding of scholarship, the preference is 4 students from school with the Vietnamese language and curriculum is discriminated against the student from Lao language school and put them in disadvantaged state. The government of Lao PDR has given long-term land leasing in many provinces, the south to Vietnam and in the north to China. 30% of the land is owned by foreign investors. These lands are now populated by hundreds of thousands of Chinese people with their own administration. More than 2 million settled are from Vietnam. This is a new kind of colonialism. In November 2013, the Lao army has met in invasion a several village in the south of Laos. In some spirits are like deep forests and safe in zones use chemical weapons too. The chemical warfare consists of bombs shell shot from mortar B-40. When they exploded, this yellow foam struck on leaves, bushes, and on the ground. The foams remained for 3 days. Despite the opening of the economy to the market system and entry to the regime to the international community, the violation of basic freedom and human rights of the people, the political oppression and brutal repression against dissent continue unabated. In contravention of the UN treaties and conventions to which the Lao PDR is a signatory. The law of the Lao PDR provided for freedom of speech, of the press, of assembly, and of association. However, in practice, these rights are severely curtailed by government infringements, by latitudes in the application of the laws by corrupt judges and by abusive police and security forces. Resistance is also under life states control, particularly the belief of the ethnic minority who continues to suffer harsh persecution like banishment, church confiscation, forced renouncement, or reversion to ammunition areas and incarceration in chicken and wooden stocks. Resistance persecution continues as we speak. As recently as August 30, 2012, 50 Christians in central Bolikamsai province were ordered to reconvert to their traditional Eminist religion. Early in the same province, the police arrested a Christian for converting 300 Christians to Christianity. Alliance for Democracy in Laos, its allied organizations appeal to the UN Human Rights Council to urge the government of Lao PDR, first, urge the United Nations to review the actual performance of the government of Laos PDR in applying human rights standards and norms of the United Nations. To ensure that the requirements of its human rights agreements and conventions are complied with. Second, appeal to the United Nations to help put pressure on the ruling power of Vietnam to seize control of Laos. Repeat as a matter of urgency the Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation of July 18, 1977, respecting the sovereignty and the plunder and hijack of Laos natural resources towards Vietnam, and let Laotians go themselves democratically and reign independently with Laos sovereignty under free and fair election under the control of the UN. Third, Laos should immediately establish those rules allow a comprehensive land title reform package. The land title actions must recognize the traditional land owner and protect the environment from foreign destruction and protect for future generations of Laos. Land title is a necessary legal action that deserves immediate initiative in every community and across the country. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Bunton. Next will be our representative from ADL USA, Van Lan Kamsok.
Thank you, Professor Joshua, and thank you, Geneva Press Club, for an opportunity for us to come out here and speak about our little country. Laos is a small landlocked country located in Southeast Asia, surrounded by its neighbor on the northern side, powerful powerhouse economic country, China. On the east side is Vietnam. They call themselves a revolutionary brother. On the southern part, Cambodia, we don't have any problem with that. On the west side is Thailand. And we also enjoy a relationship with that country. Ever since 1975, the current government, the current ruler took over the power in December 1975. Shortly after the taking the power, 500,000 of Lao citizens become the refugee. Besides that, over 100,000 people were arrested and sent to the so-called re-education camp. Some of them, that's including our king and his wife and his family, including also the own regime cadre and staff. They are being sent to the re-education camp to face the starvation. There's no lack of nutrition, and they die. Some of the families still not accounted for, and we are looking for that. We are looking for that. After taking this power, the economic system that they use to govern or run in the country, it's basically a communist state, a communist style. One party dictatorship is no law. They govern by the decree. After taking a country for 14 years, they have the law. And after that, the law is also dictated that only Lao, the Revolution Party, is the sole political identity in the country. Therefore, people does not have the right for the religious belief, cannot form any association, anything have to be dictated and followed by the state. Anybody can be faced with the arrest. For example, the last case of Sombat Sompon in the December 15, 2012. Sombat Sompon is well-known activist in Laos. He's advocate for the well-being of the people. He was educated in USA and returning with a clean heart and honest thinking that he can move the country forward. Instead of seeing his work, the government think that he's also working for somebody else. At the end, they get rid of him. Up until today, it's 2 years already. The Lao government continue to deny to have anything to do with his disappearance. Ladies and gentlemen, in a country like that, even the bird fly into the sky of the country, that government know exactly what type of birds is flying into the country, that how rigid, how strict they are. I'm not making up the story in here. On the other hand, corruption, it's from up to the down. The country, the ruler, it's elite group of people that benefit. Corrupt land grabbing is the big problem. On the northern of Laos, the land is being given away on the soft term lease to the China that expected to have at least 200,000 Chinese moving in and run the country. They have their own administration. The Lao people have no right to object all of this. This is happened under the eye and the tear of the Lao people who is suffering, daily suffering. The elite, the government, the crony, it's become rich and rich and rich. On the southern, it's the same history, same experience. Vietnam is basically slowly annexed Laos. There is no territorial integrity in Laos. Whatever they want to do, Lao government open up the land for concession, for land, for plantation that build a dam, that destroy the ecology of the country. People are being displaced in 1,000, and there's no plan or assistance plan to help replace what they have. Those land they live in there for generation and generation. But once the government come in with the scheme saying that this is for the new development, the people have to move. They have no right for objection. This is a very serious problem in Laos. Now, the economy that Lao people is facing today, Lao government cannot help their own people. Every day, the poor people cross to Thailand looking for a better future, looking for job. Some of them end up in the brothel, end up in the human trafficking. It's very sad. The own account, Lao official admitted there are at least 100,000 Lao. It's working illegally or legally or illegally in Thailand. Some of them are facing with uncertainty. Some of them facing with rude, with abuse, and there is no end in sight. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have to say. And in brief, Laos road to democracy is very torturous for Laos to move into democracy. Unless the international community pay attention, use the pressure. Laos is relying on the donor, on the fund from the donor. Despite $1 billion has been thrown into Laos to improve the quality of their life, to eradicate the poverty. That's not the case. The poverty is being created by their own policy, a government policy that create the poverty. It is a human created poverty, not just it come naturally. This is very important for me today to bring this up to you, and we need help. Lao people need help. Otherwise, in next 10 years or 20 years, Laos will no longer exist as a country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Van Long. Excellent. Good to see the enthusiasm. Our next speaker is the Secretary for ADL in Canada, Kongse Bonapa.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. Okay. As my colleague said, that Laos is a landlocked country, a small country, but naturally it has its own beauties. The landscape has been excellent from 1950, so that the area of Laos has 70% of green, which is mountains and forest. That's in 1950. The data in 2000 and 2002, the source issued by Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry seems to me that 9.8 million hectares, or 41.5% of the land have been reduced. And again, in the data in 2011, the area has been the 9.5 million hectare, or 40.3 total area has been reduced, so undercover. So I'm talking about the deforestation in Laos. The cause of deforestation is environment impact. So that the deforestation, it has the three main reasons. The first reason is that they clear up the area first and then replant the industrial plantation, such as rubber trees and palm trees, something like that. So the other factor is that mining. Mining has take a lot of remove a lot of land, so that the area has been contaminated by chemical and things like that. And the third one is illegal logging. The illegal logging we have approved from the EIA, which has to set out all the YouTube, on the YouTube. Everybody could get the information from that. Is that the title is that the rubber barons. Okay. Now, the country has been devastated because of the government. The government controlled all the things, even the life of the Lao people. Okay. On the Constitution, Article 17 has stated that the land belongs to the state. Any individual who like to have a piece of land has to ask the government. You have the right to use, but you cannot have the right to own it. This is what the people are suffering in the country, so that people know there's no other support for them. When they go to ask the help from the government, they get no help. So there is no point that this government could stay any longer. So we, as our policy, we need help from the international community, because Laos is being integrated into the international communities as well. So that if the international community doesn't do anything, then the people are going to suffer. In the next few years, maybe Laos will be more and more suffering, so that we need help from all of you. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Kong Se. And our final speaker is Miss Manisakson Sinbantit, or Mani as we call her.
Thank you, Joshua, for that. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Manisa Khansin Bandit, and thank you for letting me speak about the human trafficking, who's became a victimized of this matter of a horrible crime, especially in continent of Southeast Asia in landlocked, especially Laos country. Today, I will be talking about human trafficking, how this horrible thing started. Human trafficking is a modern-day form of slavery of 21st century. According from Thai authority, an estimate of more than 30,000 people are in modern day slavery across the border. Anywhere between 500,000 people are trafficked across international labor border each year. 80% of these victims are women and children. Sadly, a lot of people, and especially people from other countries, would accept the perfect job that I just offered you at the beginning, but they really don't know where they are getting themselves into. My main point will be how many trafficking started, the type of human trafficking, and the things these poor victims have to go through. How this happened and how this is started. Laotian people were carried over the border and exported to different parts of the agency as bond or different country. People were sold into slavery for physical pressure as well as physical labor. Thailand is the main country along with around the area to push for an end to Laotian slave trade for the final destination. Men, women, and children have been trafficked across the border and sold into slavery. The modern slavery trade is called human trafficking. Young adults should be aware of human trafficking because half of the 500,000 victims are teenagers. 40 to 80,000 people are trafficked across the border worldwide annually. There are some buildings or some premises full of teenager girls trapped in the malicious lifestyle of human trafficker. The economic escape meaning that every money problem, every single little piece of slavery still today would simply disappear on one action. Some see eye to eyes, others oppose robustly without a clear decision, and society. And the declaration of the standard obvious. Sex trafficking is a major issue in our society. As more research is being done, it has become apparent that the sexual enslavement occurs most habitually in that region. Finally, I am appreciative for your time and giving me the opportunity for this closing the current situation regarding the human trafficking. And I emphasize all of you sit on this panel and the guests will take a look on this serious issue as I did aforementioned. If you need more or further detail of the information, I am encouraging you to contact the Thai Royal National Police and get all accord they have rescued victims, and also Pavina Hongsakun Foundation that provides psychological treatment and psychiatric treatment prior to release or repatriate back to Laos. And again, thank you so much for me to giving me this opportunity to talk about the Laos and the human trafficking, and thank you.
All right, we'd like to thank the four panelists so far, and just in some concluding comments, I think they've highlighted most of the important issues. I think what's very important in Laos today is the issue of corruption, the lack of accountability and the inability of any sort of rule of law to be able to be established since the 1975 period. More importantly, also the important issues that people are facing, it's looking at the issue of torture. That takes place quite frequently, and anyone that does speak up and ask to participate in the decision-making that affects their lives face severe repercussions, and that's quite crucial that we must understand and address this issue. Also, enforced disappearances. Enforced disappearances has gained a lot of attention lately with Sombat Sompon, but it's been a practice that's taken place for decades that still haunts many families and communities today that do not know where their loved ones are, that do know where their remains are, if they have passed on, and more importantly, have not been able to close that chapter in their lives to honor the spirit of their loved ones that have faced these horrible crimes against humanity. Another important issue, though, that's quite crucial to look at that was touched upon is land grabbing. We see huge swaths of land of this very small country that's really the heart of Southeast Asia just being pulled apart by different neighbors. And what happens with that land grabbing is that you really see people that are just begging to be able to hold on to their land that provides their livelihood, their farming, being then further harassed, detained, and in many cases tortured and even disappeared for just standing up for their land when the police would show up and remove them because there's now been a new 99-year lease. Another important issue that's quite crucial is the issue of deforestation, especially in the time of climate change. The people of Laos have been defending their land and maintaining their forest and being able to live traditionally in that capacity. And what happens is their land is taken away. The deforestation is then taking place at a rapid rate. And while they then put up palm oil plantations to satisfy the West's appetite for palm oil, it of course does not provide the importance of what the trees do that exist in their natural biosphere. So that's something that's quite important. The human trafficking situation is briefly touched upon, but it's something that we must concentrate on. And of course, the lack of democratic reform. So what we're hoping for with this universal periodic review is educating the governments of the world that provide a lot of the aid to be able to put pressure on the government to implement the reforms and, more importantly, the recommendations that the Alliance for Democracy in Laos, as well as the Southeast Asia Monitor for Human Rights and Justice, as well as the Hmong Congress, and many people who live in and outside Laos have put forward in this one long UPR process. The UPR process has been important not because it's a universal periodic review of a country that many feel will not be listening, but it's united people for rights. It's brought together civil society that don't always cooperate and collaborate to work with one another to come up with a vision for what they hope for Laos. The most important recommendation I think we must put forward, and we'll look at some of those recommendations before we look at the next steps of what will take place in the year, is with Sombath Somphone. He was a graduate of the East-West Center at the University of Hawai'i. He was probably one of the most moderate advocates that was not working for radical change, but working with the government in partnership, but more importantly, connecting with the next generation, the up-and-coming youth and the academics and advocates to take part in making their country a better place. The absolute stonewalling by the government of Laos for 2 years and not willing to accept the assistance of the EU to find him is appalling. Our heart goes out to his wife, who has been working with the government of Singapore, who's taken the head to be able to put this issue on the forefront for all to look at. And what's really important, though, about Sombath Somphone is really the intersectionality of issues that it represents. The enforced disappearances must be looked at. We also call for the urgent ratification of the Convention on Enforced Disappearances. That's absolutely crucial because many of the people that were raised here today, from the royal family to even the Hmong leaders, Toby Lee Fong, who disappeared and no one knows what happened to them. No one knows where their remains are. And even the National Burial Alliance group that's working to get those returned is very interested in the ratification of the Convention on Enforced Disappearances. We also think a national human rights institution should be created that would include civil society, definitely from outside the country as well, because many people are not allowed to return home due to the current status of the government and how they're treating their own citizens. Briefly, I'll just talk about a couple of initiatives that we're looking at in the future. The first one is the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. It will be reviewing its optional protocols on child soldiers, and as well as pornography and prostitution, and we'll be submitting a shadow report to the Committee on the Rights of the Child, focusing on those optional protocols in February. Another important issue will be the complaint procedure of the UN Human Rights Council. We're looking at a specific case to bring forward at the Human Rights Council during the March session there. And of course, ASEAN. ASEAN will be having its annual ASEAN People's Forum and ASEAN Civil Society Conference, April 23rd through 25th. It's quite crucial for one important reason. They will hand over the flag of ASEAN to Laos in 2016. And if you look at the report of what everyone's describing, it's not quite the country you'd want to host ASEAN next year, especially when this is an important year for the economic cooperation, as well as the issues focusing around their new ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights. So this conference will be quite important, and people will go there to raise those issues. And the different groups that I mentioned will also be working on the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change before the Paris Protocol. So those are just some of the next steps that the people in the room will be moving forward with, and also some of the most important issues that they hope will be recommended to Laos tomorrow at the review from 2:30 until 6 o'clock. Also tomorrow there'll be a protest from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock before the review, and everyone's welcome to participate in that at the Place des Nations. So we'll now hand it back to you to
Thank you very much for this very complete presentation of the situation. Are there any questions in the room? Bob?
Robert James Parsons from the Geneva Courier. What happened during the last Universal Periodic Review? What was done and what was the result, the conclusions, and so on? Did that have any effect anywhere?
The first cycle of the UPR, when it was happening with Laos, was still at the beginning phase. At that point, there was no movement of civil society such as now. And it was also the process where I think many states lined up their allies to then be the first countries to ask questions. So it was more of a congratulatory feel. We think the field this time will be much more of one criticizing and proposing specific changes that Laos should take if it wants to continue its role inside the UN. We also know that last time Laos was considering running for the Human Rights Council, so we were able to put pressure to ensure that they wouldn't consider that, especially with their current human rights record. So unfortunately, with the first cycle, there was no positive results. But one feature I think that's quite important to note is no one in this room was actually participating at all in that. And we also believe with the second cycle, we believe the current system where every country can ask a question will allow for many more critical questions to be raised as well as positive recommendations.
Another question? Yes. Please press on the button.
ให้นักข่าวเพิ่นถามก่อนเด้อลาวเฮาบ่ฟัง
อันนี้แม่นบ่เข้าใจปานใดแปลว่าเฮามีสิทธิ์นั่นน่ะถามเขาเจ้าบ่
ให้นักข่าวเพิ่นถามปล่อยให้นักข่าว
ให้นักข่าวเพิ่นถาม
แม่นล่ะ
ให้เขาเจ้าถามบ่
He has question that no, it's for you. It's not for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question? So it's okay. Thank you very much. Oui, Bob.
อ้ายมาในนามนักข่าวบ่คันอ้ายมาในนามนักข่าวถามได้คันบ่แม่นนักข่าวบ่ปล่อยให้นักข่าวเพิ่นถามเฮาอยากถามนักข่าวนะบ่แม่นเวียกเพิ่นบ่แม่นเวียกนักข่าวถามเฮามื้อนี้
It's for the conference later.
ปล่อย
Robert had one more question.
Robert. Oui, bah oui, pourquoi pas, allez-y.
Voilà ce que j'ai compris. D'après vous avez demandé à la salle si on a quelques questions à la presse.
Oui. Non, à la presse, à ces personnes. À ces personnes, voilà. Non, pas à la presse n'est pas représentée. Non.
I have a question for Ms. Sin Bandit regarding human. Who is the clientele for this trafficking? Because obviously there's no trafficking if there's no demand. and such markets always follow the demand. They're demand driven. So you're not going to be bringing children or adults over to another country to sell into slavery or whatever if there are no buyers. Who are the people that are driving this market? And do the trafficked people move beyond Thailand? For example, are they exported beyond Thailand to other parts of the world? Joshua, close your microphone.
Thank you, sir. Yes, basically the market is driven into Thailand. Once into Thailand and then be probably deported to different part of the world. It just depends. The slavery is being sold to, as you call, karaoke or the hotel. And so what it is that, and then I would also add that it probably supported by the Lao official. Why did I say that? Because they are the one who signed the passport, changing their age, moving their age from the younger age to the high number, from the 14 to 16 or 18. That way, they can be transported to Thailand as a worker or as a slavery. So that's why I said why does people. Most of all of us, you can see it on YouTube, and then you can see it in the police being rescue them out from those brothels. So when you actually ask them how old they are, they basically underage. And then they were telling the people, the press, the police, the Thai government basically that they are changing the age. And then the Laos official is being the one who doing that.
And those who go beyond Thailand, where do they go?
Basically, other than Thailand, probably China, Malaysia, Singapore. But mostly, I would say China, other than Thailand.
Thank you very much. We will finish now this press conference and are happy to have heard about Laos, which is very rare in the media. Thank you.
Merci.
Il fait très froid, il y a un problème. Non, je vous en prie. Très froid.
J'habite à Hawaï normalement, so je pense que c'est petit peu froid.
Non, mais vous êtes